Senator Tina Smith joining us now for a conversation. Thank you so much for joining us, Senator, on this really dark day.
Oh, thank you for inviting me to be on. It is such a terrible, terrible day. So sad.
If we could kind of walk through, where were you when you heard and early on some of your thoughts, and as the days progressed, how have you been sort of navigating all this information?
Yeah. Well, so I'm in northern Minnesota today, and I heard early on, Annunciation School is only a couple of miles from where Archie and I live in South Minneapolis, and so I'm very familiar with the school and that neighborhood. And just like everybody else, I was trying to gather information and reaching out to the mayor's office and the governor to understand what was happening. It's just so unfathomable to think of this kind of tragedy and violence, especially in a school, and as these children were celebrating Mass in their very first week back at school. I don't know about you, but my grandchildren, I have a grandchild who started kindergarten today, and a lot of families are sending their kids back to school. And so I believe that's one of the reasons why this hits so close to home for so many of us.
Yeah, I think we've both been talking about, my kiddo's 3, but my mind definitely went there, and your kids are a little older, but
yeah, they've started already, and that is the conversation. Senator, we were saying this is the time of year when we should be talking about
happy time
school lunches and how's do you have all your supplies and get your sleep schedule back on track. The conversations now that we have to have with our children are just unimaginable, and now to have this hit so close to home, it's just we're really all having a hard time processing all of this.
Yeah, Senator. Go ahead. I'm so sorry.
No, I was just going to say that in the time that I've been in the Senate, and even before when I was lieutenant governor and working at the state and the city, there have been times when I have been, called to be with people when something really horrible happens, and you never get used to it. It never becomes just the thing that you do. It always, I think, touches us, and that's what makes us human. That's why moments like this are so, in some tragic way, they bring us together, because we all are feeling so much of the same thing, thinking about those little kids that lost their lives and the ones that were injured and all of their families.
Yeah, with that being said, I'm curious, what do you say, to people in this kind of moment? And you mentioned, just the familiarity with that particular area. Have you had a chance to talk to some of the people nearby?
Well, so I have, been exchanging voice messages and texts and calling people. And Annunciation School is one of those places where there's so many of us that somebody who's either their children are there, or their grandchildren, or their nieces or nephews. And that's certainly the case for me, as I think it is for so many folks. That school is quite knit into the community of South Minneapolis, and even more broadly. And I think everybody is still really reeling from this and trying to make sense of it. And of course, it's not possible to make sense out of this kind of evil and violence. You can't really understand it, but I loved what the school principal said when he was speaking a little earlier today, and he said essentially, you pray by using your feet. Your prayers are about the actions that you take.
Yeah, we oftentimes we see so much happen in social media and online, and it just kind of comes over you like a wave. And Mayor Fry addressed some of this about an hour ago in his press conference, and he said, there's politicizing that's going on, and there's blame that's going on, and just hatred and vitriol, and we all understand, we're all angry. What is your message to people right now, kind of in this moment?
Well, I believe that love is stronger than hate, that love is bigger than anything. And it is when we're called to come together in moments like this that we have to remember that. And that doesn't mean to adapt a posture of being passive and just accepting the terribleness of this moment and the horrible hatred and violence of this moment. It should be really a recommitting ourselves to making trying to make things better, and trying to make it true that when every child goes to school, that they're safe and they're going to be loved and cared for. But fundamentally, this is what everybody wants in their life, right? You want to be safe in your home, in your neighborhood, in your community, and we have to recommit ourselves to that. And I do believe we are at a tipping point in this country where we have to really strongly condemn this terrible violence.
I was just about to get there, Senator. I was going to ask, you know, every time we get in this situation, I hate that I have to say every time we get into the situation, because this is a constant conversation, it feels like, but where do we go from here? How do you put that one step in front of the other at this point?
Yeah, well, you know, progress is not a straight line, and it doesn't just happen. It happens because of the work of dedicated individuals, so many dedicated individuals. And I'm full of grief today, and so I'm not quoting Dr. King quite as eloquently as I might have. But I think the only thing to do in moments like this is to recommit ourselves to working together and making things better. And you know, it doesn't happen all at once, but if we give up hope, then it won't happen at all. So that's, I think, what we need to hold on to, and just, you know, remind ourselves to be kind to one another. I don't mean to sound naive on such a terrible day, but that's all I really know in moments like this.
Well, I think if you've asked any of those children, they'd probably say the same thing, and it's just a pure message. It's just a very pure message. We really appreciate the time that you're giving us today. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you so much.